I don't mind admitting that my nutsack has been ground into a paste. G'day, welcome to another Mongrel Dog production, and welcome to my day trip to the Manionoid Sandbar. I'm hoping this could be the highlight of my cycling tour of the Philippines. Grab your gear, let's go. Well, that's all the check-in done, including the oversized baggage. Paid for 40 kilos. This ain't my first rodeo. The bike's usually, I don't know, 23 kilos. And then there's the trailer, which weighs a few kilos. And then it's whatever I'm carrying on the trip, which isn't very much. You've got to carry it wherever you go, so I'm pretty mindful of how much crap I take with me. Well, nearly on board. Masks are still required on board the aircraft. I wasn't anticipating that. It's a long day. I've made it to Bali. Now I've got to catch a flight to Singapore, stay there overnight, and then transit to Cebu in the Philippines tomorrow morning. Well, we've arrived at our destination, Cebu in the Philippines. This is one of 3 international airports for the Philippines. Rough night last night. Had to sleep on the floor like a dog at Changi Airport because all the transit hotels were booked out, had been for some weeks. Rough night. Anyway, I'm here now, it's just after noon. I'll grab my gear, go through customs, and then assemble the bike and the trailer somewhere discreetly outside, and then make my way to the hotel. Thank you. Right, I've left the airport, I've put the bike together, I've grabbed the local SIM card, and now I'm making my way to the hotel. It's only about 13 kilometres. I've got to take it easy. I've only stuck enough air in the tyres to get me to the nearest service station, and I'll inflate them hard when I get there. So, should be at the hotel, I guess, within about 30 minutes. Now that that's done, I can pick up the pace a little. Look, initial impressions, I'm not surprised. It's dirty, dusty, smelly, noisy, bloody humid, and all those things you expect out of Southeast Asia. And this is not my first rodeo, so really, yeah, there's no surprises in what I've seen so far. I'm here for 2 nights just to rest and orientate myself, and this is another reason why I didn't land at Manila, which is their capital, which has got a gazillion people. This has only got half a gazillion. It's just It's just torture trying to navigate your way around a big city like this. And it's got its risks as well, you know. Well, getting close now. It's called the Cebu R Hotel in some back street in some dodgy suburb, but I'm sure it's the best room. 40 bucks gets you. That is $40 Australian, and I'm here for 2 nights. Barbecue tonight. Hello. Good. Well, first morning in Cebu, we're just going to go and find a place that sells some shock cord. Somehow mine got all busted up and damaged on the way over. That was wrapped around the trailer, just to make sure the bag doesn't get separated. But anyway, yeah, I've got to try and find a hardware store or something that sells shock cord or bungee straps. Anything like that'll do. I've asked a couple of locals and they've told me to come to this place. And how much are they? How much?
240 pesos.
243.
3?
Yeah. Well, I found the equivalent of Bunnings. It seems that shotguns are the weapon of choice. Everywhere you go, coppers are carrying shotguns, and you know, the security guards, and I mean, every second person here's got a pistol, a sidearm hanging off their hip. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure what that's about. A lot of places you enter, you get scanned by metal detectors. They check your bags, and I guess we've got some concerns about security. I'm just on my way to see a dentist. Last night while I was eating dinner, I bit down on a soup bone and ended up breaking a tooth. I've been lucky enough to contact the dentist this morning, and they're gonna try and slot me in this afternoon. But, yeah, it hurts when I draw air over it, so it can't be good. I don't want to start the holiday or leave Cebu like that, because that can only be asking for trouble down the track. Well, that was relatively painless, other than the injection for the local anaesthetic. Yeah, I'll continue on my journey, and when I come back in about 3 weeks' time, the new crown will be ready to be fitted. About a third of the price that I would pay in Australia, I think. So, yeah, maybe it wasn't such a bad deal after all, breaking the thing while I'm here. Alright, day one. Well, day one on the road, we're away. It's just after 8 o'clock. Sun's out now. It's been pretty overcast for the last couple of days. But anyway, I don't have a destination in mind for today. Today's all about just, I don't know, finding my rhythm. We'll do at least 40 k's, maybe 50, possibly 60. We'll just suck it to sea, I think. We'll be following the coastline pretty much the whole day. They ride on the right here, and I'm going around clockwise. And the reason for that is, and that's a consideration for you young grasshoppers if you're new to the game, one of the first things I do when I'm going to a new country is to find out what side of the road they ride on. And I'll be on the right hand side, so I'm travelling every island in an anti-clockwise direction. That way there won't even be a line of traffic between me and the view of the ocean. So yeah, just something to consider, I guess. Hit the traffic, peek out, beauty. I'm in the outer suburbs now. The traffic's thinning out. Still pretty damn noisy, and the dust and the dirt and the sweat is just burning my eyes. The temperature is only 34 degrees, but it's the humidity. It's got to be about 90%. Anyway, go down here a few hundred metres, turn left, and start heading north. Well, I've done 20 Ks. Usually my routine is do 20 Ks at a time, stop and have a break, and do that for the first maybe 60 Ks. And after that, I'll stop every 10 Ks just for a break. So depending on how far I go today will depend on how many breaks I take. But I figure after 20 Ks, you're entitled to a cup of coffee and a sweet bun or something. Seen a few of those already this morning. Makes me wonder how safe the roads are. Just pulled over for a break, have a coffee, something to eat. I always suffer separation anxiety when I can't see the bike. I'm sure other people are like that as well, regardless of whether it's the push bike or the BMW, the Suzuki. Whenever I'm touring, because that's my lifeline, I like to know where it is at all times. That's chained up to that post. Trust no one. Philippines is made up of 7,000 islands. I'll get to see maybe 3 or 4 of them. Like most islands, there's a lot of highlands in the centre, the central highlands. My intention has always been to tour the islands around the coastline. I'm getting too old to take on the big hills, so I won't be crossing any island. Like I say, I'll pretty much stick to the coastline, I think. And sometimes that can be a bit, can involve rolling country as well, because of headland and stuff like that. But yeah, like I say, I'm a bit long in the tooth and I don't have to prove anything. Well, there's the ocean, and that's what I mean about touring the island, or any island, in an anti-clockwise direction if they drive on the right. So yeah, I don't even have a line of traffic between me and the view, when there is one. And this is what I mean about, even though you follow the coast, there's still a bit of headland occasionally, which means, of course, rolling country, but that's okay. Right, I've been able to take a quieter back road, and this is the part of cycle touring that I really enjoy. A lot of these people have never seen a fat ass Western tourist before, certainly not one on a bike towing a trailer. But anyway, I'm nearly at my destination for today. I haven't found a hotel yet, but I will, I'm sure. Is there a hotel around here? No? Yeah? Hotel. Hotel. To sleep.
Hotel?
Hotel, yeah. That way?
Oh.
Ah, okay. Long way. Thanks. Well, that went over well. I'm looking for the hotel. It's a bit of a dodgy area. I've set myself a limit of $25 Australian each night for accommodation. That's about the equivalent of a day's pay for a Filipino, so I figure for that money I should at least get a bed out of the weather. Yeah, we'll see. This is the way back to the hotel. Pretty dodgy. It looks like there's a, I don't know, it almost looks like a refugee camp here on the left. Gonna footy around. Yeah, pretty dodgy. And this is the name of the place I'm staying at. Casa Bungalows, this way. And this is my sanctuary for tonight. Well, at least there won't be any traffic noise. Alright, end of day one. Left Cebu this morning and followed the coast road. We're currently there. Covered about 55 kilometres, which I guess is not bad considering it's the first day. Choice of hotel. I've got to refine my my method of choosing a hotel because this one's a bit dodgy. There's not a lot to choose from along this stretch, and I didn't want to pass this one in case there's nothing else up the road. I'm the only guest here. They wanted $50 Australian. We negotiated, got them down to 35. So I've already blown my budget of $25, but that's okay. That's okay. I've just got to get a little bit smarter, I think, when it comes to either booking or looking for accommodation. Once I got here, that's when I checked the reviews. 1.5 stars, not a lot of positive comments. So there's a lesson there to be learnt. So yeah, end of day one. Tomorrow, I think very similar day, although I'm going to go inland. Going to head inland. Looking at the maps, it looks like it's relatively flat and level. Looks like you're right through a valley. So we'll see how we go. I'm just sitting here pondering my future. And before I came on this trip, I went and saw the doctor to get some vaccinations. And he said, "You're going to the Philippines." He said, "Don't get kidnapped," which I thought was a bit odd. Spoke to my wife, Jackie, about it, and she said, "You're going to the Philippines, don't get kidnapped," which once again I thought was a bit odd. Spoke to my adult children and said, "I'm going to the Philippines," and they said, "Well, don't get kidnapped," which once again I thought was a bit odd. So I did some checks and balances, and yeah, there's some parts of the Philippines that are a bit dodgy, places to avoid. So I'm going to avoid them. I'm not going to there. My aim is to tour around the Visayas Region, which I believe is relatively safe. The Philippines is primarily a Christian country, but there are some parts which can be considered a bit radical, so I'll stay away from those. Alright, morning of day two. Going to be another 50 kilometre day today, I think. The plan is to go from here, where we are, Katmon, and head north towards Bogo City. I was going to take the coast road, but I think that's fraught with a bit of danger. I was hoping that there might be some minor roads that follow the coastline, but I don't think they go all the way through. And it looks like might be some hilly country there, looking at some of these switchbacks. So I'll stick to the main road, the inland road. I think it goes through a valley. So yeah, we'll see how we go. But yeah, 50 k's today, I think. We'll get to Bogo City. Hopefully I'll have a bit more luck getting accommodation. We'll see how we go. Well, I've entered the rolling country. I'm not sure the highest elevation I've got to do today. I'll know more later. But I think this is probably the best option out of the two. Well, at least I'm in the shade. Just passed another sign back there saying landslide risk area. They've obviously tried to shore it up somehow. Wouldn't want to be here when it decides to come down. I don't mind admitting that my nutsack has been ground into a paste. No, I don't mind admitting, it's beaten me. This is a tough climb. I'm not sure how far I've got to go. The indicator, I guess, was back there at the bottom. The truck had pulled over and was hosing down his brakes and tyres just to cool them off. I should have suspected something then. Yeah, tough. Well, I think I'm at the top. That was a tough climb. Everywhere around there are these water dispensers. For 1 peso, I don't know how much you get for 1 peso, probably 500 mil. But yesterday I went through 9 litres of water. So it's important to hydrate. So I'll do a bit of a break here and fill up my bladder and this water bottle here, I think. I've done some tough climbs over the years. I've done the High Van Pass in Vietnam. I've done that twice. That's 500 metres. And the last overseas trip I did was Taiwan. That's when COVID, just before COVID hit, February of 2020. And there's a place there called Sun Moon Lake. That was 800 metres above sea level. I'm 65 now, and these hills are either getting steeper or I'm losing my touch. That was tough. This is about one of 5 meals that I'll have today. Got to keep up the energy. A bit of chorizo, a bit of highly processed sausage, I'm sure. I don't know, spring rolls and some rice. And they don't use utensils very often here, so they give you a plastic bag. Yeah, eat with your hands. Kilometres to go to Bogo. By then I would have done about 46 kilometres, I think. It's been a tough day, not one I want to repeat in a hurry. Hello. Do you have a room? Well, I was just about to suit up and leave. Heard rain, looked outside the window and it's absolutely persisting down at the moment. I've logged on to their local weather forecast and it's saying that the rain is going to end in about 26 minutes, half an hour. So I'll wait till then. I don't like the idea of riding in the rain. I mean, I've got wet weather gear, but I want to stay dry if I can. So yeah, not a good start to day 3. I decided to leave, even though it's still drizzling slightly. It's no worse than the humidity. Had a look at the weather forecast and humidity is something like 87%. So a light shower's not going to make much difference. 10 kilometres heading west and I hit the coast. From there I start heading south. Probably only, g'day mate, how you going? Probably only do 40 k's today. I'm struggling a little. Yesterday was tough. I need to maybe shorten my days. I know 40 k's is not much, but it's going to take me a little time, I think, to build up some resistance. Just hit the coast. I'm heading south. I've gone past the cemetery. I've never quite seen one like this before. Pack them in. Yeah, I know that some cultures bury them standing up to save a bit of space. Obviously here they stack them high. Anyway, that aside, one of the advantages of doing this trip is I'm effectively just due north of Australia, due north of Perth. I'm in another hemisphere. I'm in the northern hemisphere, but there's no time difference. Where I am in Perth are on the same time zone, so I guess that helped with my acclimatising, and there was certainly no jet lag. So that's one advantage of doing this trip, and that goes for all of the Philippines. They're in the same time zone, even though there's 7,000 different islands. I have to go and see a pharmacist, get some more magnesium tablets to prevent cramping up. Also get some cream for a rash. My ballsack and my arse has just been grounded into a mush. And I've developed quite a nasty rash, and I don't know how long it's going to take to go away. Might have to rest up for a day or 2 if I want it to make any difference. Yeah, unpleasant riding, especially in the afternoons. Typical Southeast Asian landscape, I guess. Or vegetation, palm trees and banana plantations. A lot less traffic on this side of the island. Time to chuck a piss, boys. G'day, mate. G'day, mate. Got to start being a bit careful about accommodation now because today's Friday. It's Chinese New Year on Sunday, and two things happen. Firstly, all the hotels get booked out pretty quick, and secondly, the price goes up threefold. I'll probably be lucky tonight. I need to make sure I book something ahead for tomorrow, I think. Well, today's not going as planned. I was only going to do 40 k's today and pull up at a place called Tabu Allen. All the suitable hotels are now behind me, which means I've got to backtrack, and I don't want to do that because even if I stayed here now, I've got a 60-kilometre day tomorrow, and if I backtrack, it's going to be even worse, and tomorrow's going to include some climbing. So I've got something to eat and something to drink. I'll keep heading south. It's along the coast. Hopefully within the next 10 or so kilometres I'll come across a place that's affordable. One thing you've got to understand about cycle tourists, we're all tight asses, and clearly accommodation is the most expensive part of any trip, so the cheaper we can get it, the more we like it. Yeah, there's a bit of mass migration going on because of Chinese New Year, I think. Well, I did it. I broke the bank, pulled over to the first resort I found, Formosa, about 10 kilometres from my lunch stop, and I broke the bank, $100. But I didn't want to pass, I'm sure everybody's been there before. It's a bit like passing that last fuel stop and you think, will I have enough? So I've taken the liberty of pulling over and spending $100 for a room. Obviously, with that you get a little bit of comfort, and I'm sure my children would want me to be comfortable. After all, it's their inheritance that I'm spending. In the morning of day 4, I've left already. I didn't have a reception, didn't have a signal last night. You spend $100 on a hotel room and you find yourself in a black spot. But anyway, that aside, I've managed to ride to the nearest town, got a signal, checked in with the wife because she would have been a bit concerned not hearing from me. Anyway, I'm still heading south. I'm going to a town called Toledo, about 50 kilometres, and I've just rung a hotel and spoken to them and booked in for 2 nights just to make sure I've got a room. $40 a night. I'm blowing the budget, but I really don't want to end up homeless. So I'm staying there I'm going to take tomorrow off, just rest up, heal and fatten up a little, and then I'll catch a ferry across to the next island, which is Negros. That's a bit of a bummer. I've come to a fork in the road, and I was going to take some minor back roads through some small villages and get off the main road, but it looks like that could be a bit dodgy, so I'll stick to the main road rather than take a chance. Interesting signs. No driving half naked. I'm not quite sure who that's aimed at, but a bit of light rain now. It rained yesterday morning for about an hour. This is only light. I'm certainly not going to suit up. I've got a poncho and I'll just melt if I put that on. So I'll just tough it out unless it gets heavy. This is supposed to be their dry season. It's their winter time. You wouldn't want to be here during summer. Thunderstorms and really, really high humidity then. So yeah, that's the time to tour Southeast Asia in their dry season. Their winter time. Outskirts of Toledo, that's my destination, and it must be a fairly big regional town. The traffic volumes have increased. It's got a McDonald's, so it must be a reasonable size. G'day, mate.
Are you going to stay here?
I'm not sure if I've got the right place. I rang earlier this morning